Muhammad Ali and kept calling him Cassius Clay.
Hold up, here's how we do this.
Conviction, his courage, his rage.
I'm gonna totally fucking cheat HBO here. Alright, boxing fans. Here's some HBO broadcasting for you, straight from the lair.
I'm bigger than boxing. I am bigger than all the champions put together. I'm bigger than the Super Bowl, the Rose.
Can you turn it up, Corey? I'm about to fucking film this whole fucking thing for them.
What must never be forgotten about his life is that it meant so much to so many. As many, no doubt, as any life in the
Louder.
last century.
Here's how we do this.
And perhaps beyond. Remember, there's no overstating when it comes to Muhammad Ali. He wasn't the greatest because he said he was. He was the greatest because no one else would dare argue otherwise.
It's one of the compelling elements of boxing's unique nature that men are pitted against each other in the most personal and combative confrontations, either by natural circumstance or by promotional design, and then they fight. And as time goes on, their rivalries give way to mutual respect, sometimes grudging, but inescapably real. And eventually the bad blood is replaced by unusual affection, in some cases real love. There was a time when Big George Foreman might have thought it impossible that his feelings regarding Muhammad Ali would follow that path, but gradually and inevitably they did. And in this segment, George joins us from his ranch in Texas to reflect on his relationship with the greatest. And of course, it stands to reason that if George and I are going to share this together, we would also be joined by longtime HBO boxing analyst Larry Merchant, who covered both Ali's career and Foreman's career from beginning to end, and who was as intimately acquainted with both champions as any reporter could possibly have been. George, I'll begin with you. In the years between your Olympic gold medal in 1968 and your fight with Ali in 1974, what was your view of him, and particularly of his stands against the draft and for his controversial religious identity?
I think one of the most beautiful things I ever saw on television was Muhammad Ali.
I would do this with the Keith Thurman Sean Porter fight if I had it.
About 16, 17 years old. I didn't know anything like that exists where guys were calling themselves good looking. He was good looking. But that's about all I knew about him. He had some political stance, but in those days, everyone was trying to run from the draft. And it seemed like he got tired of running and just stood up and said, I'm just not going. He tried first from Louisville, switching his draft board from Louisville to Houston, but I guess that didn't work.
Yeah, because you were in Houston. Did it discomfort you to know that as you went down to Zaire, if you did knock him out, which was the widespread expectation, that millions of your African-American brothers and sisters would be not thrilled, but rather upset by your accomplishment?
There were a lot of people who loved Muhammad Ali, but believe me, remember, even when he fought Joe Frazier, he was not the house fighter. Frazier even got the better applause that night. I was there. He was a beloved man in his last years, but it wasn't like everybody wasn't betting. A lot of people got upset with me because I lost. They had bet too much money on me.
That's a great point. Larry, Sonny Liston, Floyd Patterson, Joe Frazier, Big George, nearly all of Ali's significant opponents during that period of time were black men who were tilting against another black man whose popularity was an article of faith for the black community. Somewhat mixed, as George points out, but how difficult was that for his opponents?
Well, if it was difficult, it certainly didn't show in the way they tried to take off his head. Ken Norton broke his jaw. Joe Frazier pummeled him and got pummeled in return in 2 of their 3 fights. George wailed away at him. Floyd Patterson famously refused to call him Muhammad Ali and kept calling him Cassius Clay. So they weren't intimidated by him and the atmosphere around Ali at the time.
We're going to take a look right now at Neil Leifer's famous photo of Ali standing over Liston and taunting him in their second fight in Lewiston, Maine. And as we zoom through Ali's legs, we see your young face drop-jawed in amazement. What was it like to cover Ali during that period of time?
Well, I feel that I was, ringside for the greatest circus in the world. A dog barking at the greatest parade in the world led by Muhammad Ali.
Did you, in your mind's eye, see any realistic chance for Ali to win the Rumble in the Jungle, or did you assume that you were flying off to Africa for the pivotal embarrassment of the man who called himself the greatest?
I thought, like most everybody else, that it probably would be the last hurrah. But on the flight to Zaire, Ali put something into my ear that let me believe, okay, maybe something will happen that nobody expects. If he doesn't get me in 7, his parachute won't open. And sure enough, he got him in the 8th.
Remarkably prophetic statement, whether it was lucky or not. George, there's a general sense, whether it's correct or not, that it took you a long time, years, not months, to recover from the shocking loss. Was that in any way a product of the kind of theatrical abuse that Ali heaped on opponents, including you, prior to the fights?
A lot of people don't know that, Ali and me were in Africa. We never met. I never saw him. We never even experienced a press conference together where he could have abused or said anything funny to me at all. It was a lot of fun. I signed the fight. I said, "Do you really want the fight?" He said, "Yeah, George, I want it." I said, "Are you certain?" I said, "Okay, you'll get it." He said, "I'll promote it, George. I'll promote it." Well, the next day he's screaming, calling me the Frankenstein monster. I just took it as what he said. He would promote it. I never got offended about anything he said about me, nor any little names he called me. It was all in fun until that bell rang. It didn't matter who it was. I tried for a knockout.
So at what point in both of your lives did your relationship with him begin to change?
I think it was the last of the 70s, maybe 1978. Muhammad Ali, I don't know how he got my number because he avoided me. He never wanted to give me a title rematch. He called me and complimented me for about 20 minutes. Then he said, "George, would you do me a favor?" He knew I liked him. I said, certainly. He said, "Please come back and beat Ken Norton for me." He said, "They're gonna strip me of my title. And I can't beat him, George. You can. He's afraid of you. I'll let you use my training camp and everything. But please come back and beat him for me." That day forward, we became the best of friends. We started talking on the telephone. He'd call me. I'd try to run him down wherever he'd be. We had these religious conversations. His children even became good friends with my children. And that's when the love affair began, right there at the end of the 70s.
I watched When We Were Kings the other night, and for about the 50th time, it struck me that you beat the count, but you walked to your corner and did not complain to the referee. Why?
That fight, the count was short. My trainer told me to get up. When I got up, the fight was over. I thought I had beaten the count myself, but everybody jumped in the ring. I said, "Must be over." And I had no questions about that. For good reasons. I'm glad I didn't beat the count, because he surely would have put it on me then.
Thank you so much, George, Larry. It's been a thrill to share this with you, and thanks very much for being with us.
Thanks for inviting me.
Run like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Rumble. I've wrestled with alligators. I've tussled with the whale. I've handcuffed lightning and put thunder in jail.
I have a lot of speed. I have a lot of endurance. When I'm through with Frazier, he'll need more insurance.
And if you like to lose your mind, be a fool in their own time. Come on, girl. We in Manila.
Who would have thought when they came to the fight that they'd witness the launching of a human satellite?
And he must lose in a round I choose.
Joe's gonna come out smoking, and I ain't gonna be joking. I'll be pecking and a poking, pouring water on this smoking. Now this might shock and amaze you, but I will destroy Joe Frazier.
Later in the program, we'll hear thoughts on Ali's interface with the entertainment industry in my interview with Hollywood superstar Jack Nicholson. But another entry point for that subject joins us right now from New York. Rapper and actor LL Cool J is the grandson of one boxer and the great-nephew of another. He referenced Muhammad Ali early in one of his most noteworthy compositions, Mama Said Knock You Out, and he's been gracious enough to cut short a trip to Europe to join us for this discussion. Welcome, LL. thanks very much for coming.
Thank you, thank you.
When you look back at the timeline along which rap developed in this country, and you think back to Muhammad Ali's rhymes and rants, was there a direct connection there, a chemical inoculation? What kind of relationship might have existed between Ali and rap?
There's definitely a relationship there because Ali's brashness, his boldness, his fearlessness, his willingness to speak out and talk about things that were controversial and display that level of moral courage, speaking truth to power the way he did, in a lot of ways embodies the spirit of hip hop and rap music, at least at its genesis, at the initial onset of hip hop. And so, he, for me, just is one of the most important men in my life. Me seeing him being so confident, so handsome, having the courage to say the things that he did really made a difference in my life. And he was one of the people that just really motivated me to be the best that I could be. I always love him.
Did you make a point of going back and studying the things he said early in his career in the 60s and 70s? Or is the language of Muhammad Ali inherent in the dialogue of Black America in your lifetime?
Well, I think the language of Muhammad Ali is inherent in all of America. Quite frankly, I think that he embodies that rebellious spirit for many people. It just so happens that as a Black man, it's even that much more special for me. I didn't have to go back and study him. I would look at his videos, but it wasn't like study. It was out of enjoyment, out of entertainment, watching his old fights, watching him, transition from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali, what that represented. Him taking on the big mean monster, or at least that's how he was positioned in the media, in Sonny Liston. And then, going on to take his career to higher and higher heights. He just, I think, incredibly enough, even though at the time he represented everything that was anti-American at that time, now looking back on it, he actually represents everything American, all things that, the American dream, the idea of speaking truth to power, the idea of being a maverick and going out and believing in what you're trying to accomplish, believing in yourself and taking your life to the next level. I think that, Ali really embodies that. And I think that's why he's revered worldwide by so many people.
Well, you yourself have some experience with allowing your politics to be known and then facing, to some degree, a potential backlash as the result of that.
Yeah.
So a lot of your admiration for him must go to that political bravery.
Absolutely. I've been through, I've had controversial moments. Like, I made a song with Brad Paisley called Accidental Racist, which was poorly received and basically critically panned by many people. But I still believe in the ideas and the things that we espouse in that song. I just think time will tell. And I think history will catch up to our idea and we'll ultimately be on the right side of history. I think we just came out a little early. And sometimes you have to do that as an artist. As a groundbreaking artist, you have to be willing to, step out there and do what you believe in. And make no mistake about it, Muhammad Ali definitely was an artist, not only on a social level, but in and out of the ring on many different levels. So, yeah, I've been through that. I relate to that. I love the fact that he was confident. I actually nicknamed myself the GOAT, greatest of all times in hip hop because of Muhammad Ali. I introduced that acronym to hip hop, and everybody's run with it now. You can name countless rappers that people consider the GOAT, whether it's this one or that one, you name it. And I got that. That was a direct result of me, watching Ali, believing in Ali, and I think his courage, his victories, even the times he lost in life. Sometimes losing can endear you with the fans even more than winning can. When he lost to Larry Holmes, I loved him even more. Seeing him out there fighting Spinks, fighting the different fights he fought. I mean, he was amazing. And I'm at that weird age group where I kind of grew up on his videos, on the aftermath of his fights. I didn't grow up on his fights like the way I did, let's say, a Tyson or a Floyd Mayweather. I kind of with Ali, I was kind of watching the videos behind time, but he still had a huge effect on me as a child growing up. Huge.
And what a privilege for us to have you come in today. Thanks very, very much for your insights, LL.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. And I want to tell you, I really, really enjoy everything you do in terms of your announcing and you make the sport of boxing a lot of fun to watch because you handle it with class. And I love the way you do your thing. So just keep it up, man. And I'm a fan of your show, by the way. The Fight Game. I like it.
Totally mutual. Thanks very much, LL.
There's one hell of a lot of difference in fighting in the ring and going to war in Vietnam. I am a Muslim. There are 750 million more that believe just like me. It has been said that I have two alternatives. Either go to jail or go to the army. But I would like to say that there is another alternative. That alternative is justice.
Whatever the punishment, whatever the persecution is for standing up for my religious beliefs, even if it means facing machine gun fire that day, I will face it before denouncing Elijah Muhammad and the religion of Islam. I'm ready to die.
It's no mere coincidence that Muhammad Ali's outsized persona emerged from the most turbulent American decade of the 20th century, the 60s. Amid a period of overwhelming social ferment, Ali expressed positions on many of the angriest issues, inspiring countless followers and equally countless detractors.